listening to the WrestleHavoc Podcast on YouTube, where we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. We talk all that goes on in the realm of WWE and AEW every week. And now, here's your host, the one that will give you a reality check on pro wrestling, Flamin' Ricky DeReyes. This is the WrestleHavoc Podcast.
What's up, everybody? It is yours truly, Flamin' Ricky DeReyes, and this is the WrestleHavoc Podcast. It is Sunday, February 4th, 2024. Oh my God, just when you thought there was a lot of news, there was a lot more that happened in the realm of professional wrestling. And a week ago, yours truly, Flamin' Rick, was absolutely excited about WrestleMania because the possibilities were endless. You know, we were going to get Seth Rollins versus CM Punk on night one of WrestleMania. All could go right. Of course, we had the Seth Rollins injury, but Seth Rollins stated, I am going to be at WrestleMania, so not to worry. Then we head towards the Royal Rumble. Cody won the Royal Rumble. All things are good, but unfortunately, a bombshell happened. And no, it's not The Rock yet. It was CM Punk's injury. CM Punk unfortunately suffered a torn tricep injury, and it was the same injury that he suffered when he wrestled Jon Moxley at All Out 2 years ago on the same night where he famously had that incident at the press conference. And then it was known that CM Punk was going to be out. CM Punk was out of WrestleMania indefinitely. That is at the same time as Brock Lesnar and all plans for him at WrestleMania were scrapped, considering all of the crazy shenanigans that were going on and all of the information that we all found out about Vince McMahon. So Brock Lesnar's out of that as well. And honestly, at this point, Brock Lesnar should be out. But we then go and fast forward to Friday Night SmackDown. I thought SmackDown was a great show. SmackDown was awesome. I thought it was a great show. There was some storyline progression. But all eyes were on the main segment, the main event segment. The main event did not close with the match. It was a segment. And it was simple. Cody Rhodes needs to make his decision for WrestleMania. He needs to make his decision for WrestleMania. Who is he going to choose? Is he going to choose Seth Rollins, or is he going to choose the tribal chief, the undisputed champion, Roman Reigns? Well, this past Monday on Raw, Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes had a really good segment. I know a lot of people complained about it, but I was one of those people that actually thought it was very intriguing. Of course, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it was the promo in which Seth Rollins told Cody Rhodes, I want you to face me at WrestleMania. I want you to choose me at WrestleMania because do you want to go after Roman Reigns, the guy that holds the Hollywood title, the title that Hulk Hogan has held? Or do you want to go after my title, the World Heavyweight title, the Workhorse title, the title that was held by Dusty Rhodes, the title that Ric Flair held? Do you want to be Ric Flair? Do you want to be Dusty Rhodes? Go after me. Basically creating the analogy that the World Heavyweight title is basically WWE's version of the NWA title. That was my analogy and perception that I got from that promo. I thought it was a tremendous promo because at the time, we all thought Cody was going to go after Roman Reigns. And at a time where you think, of course, Cody's going to go after Roman Reigns, it would suck that he would just immediately ignore Seth Rollins. Don't you think? He would ignore Seth Rollins? I don't think that'd be right. And I don't think that would be a good look for Seth Rollins, right? So I loved the perception that WWE did, and they added, in terms of at least acknowledging Seth Rollins, even though Cody beat Seth Rollins 3 times in a row. And basically, that World Heavyweight title is a secondary title. But then we fast forward to SmackDown. Cody Rhodes has to make his decision. Roman Reigns, right, cuts this promo. He cuts this promo talking about how, hey, you can go take a crack at Seth Rollins, but Seth Rollins is basically number 2. He's holding the title that everyone I beat is going after. Do you want to go at number 2? Or do you want to take a crack at number 1? Oh, yeah, and by the way, I make more money than Seth Rollins. Basically, in that promo, Roman Reigns verbally buried the World Heavyweight title. Oh, and by the way, he verbally buried Seth Rollins. Right? And he's like, hey, Cody, you can go after number 2, but if you want to take a crack at number 1, I'm all fine too. I'll smash you again. Cody Rhodes comes out, right? And he talks about how I want to go after your championship. There's one thing that Seth Rollins has wrong. He talks and he calls that title the Hollywood title, right? That is the same title that Bruno Sammartino held. So yeah, Roman, I am going after your title. Just not at WrestleMania. As soon as he said, but not at WrestleMania, my jaw dropped. Because SmackDown was in Birmingham, Alabama. They were in Birmingham, Alabama. I think that's what it's called. Birmingham, Alabama. And there were reports about The Rock being there. The Rock was in Birmingham, Alabama, right? As soon as he said, but not at WrestleMania, when he finished that sentence, but not at WrestleMania, my jaw dropped because I already knew what was about to come next. And what happened? The Rock, yes, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, the guy that is now a part of the board of directors of TKO, by the way. The Rock comes out and faces off with Roman Reigns. And the delusional people will tell you, oh, but people were chanting, holy shit, and they were excited. Well, do you really call this excitement when that one video of The Rock and Roman Reigns facing off, basically telling you that is going to be the main event of WrestleMania, garnered the most disliked video in the history of WWE's YouTube channel? Explain that to me. And don't even get me started with the people that are saying that the internet is a niche audience, because clearly WWE has, 50 million subscribers on YouTube? A lot of their videos, especially garnering The Rock, is in the multi-millions, at least, maybe 10 million, 17 billion, 20 million, who knows? But they got millions and millions of followers watching the stuff on YouTube. People that don't watch Raw, SmackDown, or even NXT on a weekly basis go on WWE's YouTube channel to look at, hey, what is going on? And they see The Rock. And it garnered the most disliked video in WWE's YouTube channel's history. That is not a fumble. I don't know what is. WWE. Now, The Rock and Roman Reigns is not official. And I'll continue to talk about this. This is just the pure This is the intro. Okay? This is the crazy, Stephen A. Smith, I'm having a very bad day type of intro. Right here on the WrestleHavoc Podcast. But this match is not official. The Rock and Roman Reigns is not official. This could all be a swerve. Who knows? There is a press conference in Las Vegas this Thursday. We will get more answers then. But the perception that WWE gave to the entire fan base, but everybody watching on television, was like, hey, Cody Rhodes, you were slated to finish your story. We had a whole story set up for you. We had the audience basically get invested in you for the past 2 years. Only, Dwayne Johnson just wants to come in and, kind of take your spot. Basically, what they're telling us is everything that we have invested our time with when it comes to Cody Rhodes has been rendered absolutely useless. Useless. That is the perception that WWE gave me. That is the perception that WWE gave you, the viewer watching this video. I'm not sitting here and denying the fact that Rock and Roman is a big match, because it is a big match. It's the biggest match WWE could do. My issue is with the timing of everything. That's my issue. The timing of everything. There was this report by PW Insider saying that The Rock needs to, quote unquote, save WrestleMania. Oh, because we need to garner more mainstream attention. Well, I hate to break it to you, but last year's WrestleMania was probably, if not the most successful WrestleMania of all time, and it didn't involve The Rock. Why? Why do you need to garner mainstream attention? You are already gonna garner mainstream attention regardless. You want to know why? Because it's WrestleMania. That's why. WrestleMania, the name alone, the brand of WrestleMania is so big that people all around the world, regardless if the show is good or bad, will travel to the show and watch the goddamn show. That's how big WrestleMania is nowadays. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Because this is your Stephen A. Smith, I am having a very bad day type of intro right here on the WrestleHavoc Podcast. I'm going to talk about a lot more, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself right here on the show. This is going to be a very good show, by the way. You know, I was planning on doing this a couple of days, but I really needed to prepare myself on what I wanted to say because I'm going to try to choose my words wisely. When I talk about this whole topic, because we got a lot more to talk about. We're not only going to talk about Roman Reigns and The Rock, because that is arguably the biggest topic here, and that's going to be at the top of this show. We're also going to be talking about Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon, once again, is in the news, and from what it looks like, Vince McMahon is in deep waters. He's in deep shit. He is that deep, and it looks like he can't get out of this situation that he is already in, and it's only going to get worse for not only Vince McMahon, but also John Laurinaitis. We talked about John Laurinaitis possibly turning on Vince McMahon. Yeah. You know, it's like in any mob movie or in The Sopranos where, hey, you're selling H and, you're like Big Puss. You're like Bub and Cero and you got caught selling H and you are secretly an FBI informant and you're trying to get information from Tony Soprano only for you to get whacked in a fucking boat. That is basically John Laurinaitis. John Laurinaitis is now wanting to turn on Vince McMahon, apparently. That's hilarious, but it is something that Vince McMahon would have done himself. And also, if you really think about it, I have no sympathy for both men, but I'll talk about that later on. But the majority of the show, we're going to be talking about The Rock versus Roman Reigns because this had me riled up throughout the entire month of January. We had all this talk about The Rock and Roman Reigns, right? This whole month of January that just passed by. It's already February 4th. We're already in the second month of 2024. Time is flying fast, ladies and gentlemen. Time is flying fast. Throughout the entire month of January, everybody was talking about The Rock and Roman Reigns. And I was one of those people that was clearly in denial, saying, no, that match should not happen at WrestleMania 40. And I still believe that. And I will continue to say that because the match happening at WrestleMania 40 is wrong. It is wrong. I was like, hey, book the match at Elimination Chamber. But I think it's obvious Roman Reigns is not advertised for the Elimination Chamber. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself again. Before we get on with all this craziness, this is, of course, yours truly, Flamin' Ricky DeRays. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, it's right here below, at FlaminRick0305. If you guys, want to watch more content like this, please make sure to like and subscribe to the WrestleHavoc channel right here on YouTube, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. It's already 13 minutes in this video, and I'm already going crazy. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and as the frickin' referee would say, ring that damn bell for more notifications. Also, follow me on social media on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. This is going to be a long show. I don't know how long I'm going to be talking, but man, there is a lot of things we got to talk about right here on the WrestleHavoc Podcast. I'm going to start off with this. I'm going to talk about Rock and Roman, but I'm going to start off with this quote by Arn Anderson, because the analogy is very similar from a kayfabe perspective. Arn Anderson, if you guys do not remember, on AEW Dynamite, this is when Cody was still there. And this was at the tail end of Cody Rhodes' AEW run. If you don't remember, I think it was after a tag team match involving Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson, right? And after the match, Arn Anderson said these words, and I quote, "You pull up a red light, a man jerks the car door open and says, 'Out of the car, I'm taking your car.' You say, 'Okay, take it. Just don't hurt me.' You know what I do? I pull out the Glock, put it on his forehead, and spill his brains all over the concrete." Why do I say that quote? That first part. You pull up a red light, a man jerks into your car door open and says, "Out of the car, I'm taking your car." You say, "Okay, take it. Just don't hurt me." That first part alone. Why do I say that first part? That is exactly what WWE made Cody Rhodes do on Friday on SmackDown. That is exactly what WWE made Cody Rhodes do this past Friday on SmackDown. They made him look like a total clown. And it's not Cody Rhodes' fault. It's not Cody Rhodes' fault, by the way. It's not. It's not. It's the creative forces behind it. Just when you thought things were going to change and things were headed in the right direction, things were already headed in the right direction. WWE is as hot as they could possibly be. They throw this nail, and clearly it struck the heart of Cody Rhodes, and it went through his heart, through his back. And Cody Rhodes looked like an absolute clown. And it's not Cody's fault. Again, it's not Cody's fault. If anything, I sympathize for Cody Rhodes. Because if this were real and this happened, I won the Royal Rumble. Why the fuck should I give up my spot for a guy that hasn't even been here for a while and hasn't wrestled a full match in well over 10 years? A full match. I'm not talking about the match that he had in 2016. That was not really an official match. I'm talking about his last official match was against John Cena at WrestleMania 29. This man hasn't had a full-length match in over 10 years, and he comes in and selfishly takes your spot away. That is exactly what Cody Rhodes unfortunately did this past Friday. WWE basically had a man come into Cody Rhodes' car, takes his car, and Cody was like, here you go, take it. That was why I mentioned that Arn Anderson promo, because the analogies are very, very similar. And then you had the crowd look at Roman Reigns and Dwayne Johnson as Cody Rhodes looks at The Rock. He looks at The Rock and has a very, if you guys look at this photo right over here, has a very, clearly very disappointing look on his face, saying, damn, these people fucked me for a second year in a row. Because that is exactly what they did. But it wasn't at the hands of Vince McMahon. It wasn't at the hands of Triple H. It was at the hands of The Rock. The Rock, of all people, The Rock fucked Cody Rhodes. And my apologies for using that foul language. I know I use foul language, but I'm trying to lower it down. I'm trying to be a little more professional. But in this instance, I'm very pissed off. I'm very pissed off as a fan because, again, a week ago, I was so excited for WrestleMania. The Royal Rumble was going to be awesome. We were either going to have Gunther, Cody, or CM Punk win the Royal Rumble. Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble. Man, this guy's going to finally finish his story. He's going to finish his story my ass. He didn't finish his story at all. Now people are saying, damn, he should go after the World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah, Cody Rhodes should go after the World Heavyweight title that Roman Reigns just verbally buried on live television. Great. Cody Rhodes will forever be number 2. And you know what's even worse? It's not his fault. But we're going to be talking about this whole segment. I basically gave you a gist. Cody Rhodes just looked so distraught. He looked so upset. And he shook the hand of The Rock and then walked away as The Rock faced off against Roman Reigns. And basically, that face-off told you what the main event of WrestleMania 40 was going to be. From what it looks like now, it's not official, so WWE could be swerving us, but from what they did on Friday, basically bit WWE in the ass. And from what it looks like, it's going to be Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania. Bullshit. Bullshit on all levels. I don't want to see that shit. People were saying, haha, I was right. Haha, we're going to be getting Cody Rhodes. We're going to be getting The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Haha, I was right, blah, blah, blah. Bro, for those people that are celebrating this, y'all can really just shove that up your ass, because clearly y'all have no IQ when it comes to pro wrestling logic. Have you guys not been paying attention what we have been watching for the past 2 years regarding Cody Rhodes? Seriously, all you fans, I don't care who are you? I don't care. With all due respect, and I'm gonna put that right there. With all due respect, for those of you that are supporting the idea of The Rock versus Roman Reigns being the main event of WrestleMania, go F off. F off. F off. I'm being nice here. I could easily say fuck, but I'm going to say F because I'm going to be a little bit nicer and a little bit more professional. F off. F off, and your wrestling IQ is 0. You have no IQ when it comes to pro wrestling whatsoever. I'm sorry. Your opinions suck, with all due respect. Your opinions suck, and they're wrong. Yes, you're entitled to your opinion, but they're wrong. Okay? They're wrong. But we're going to read this report by Mike Johnson, or article by Mike Johnson of PW Insider, because he provided a lot, and I mean a lot of information regarding this whole Rock versus Roman Reigns thing. As you saw with the finish of last night's WWE Friday Night SmackDown, unless there is yet another major change in plans, Cody Rhodes will not be finishing the story at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Wow, really? This man just won the Royal Rumble, says he's going to go after Roman Reigns, but not at WrestleMania? I don't give a shit what anybody says, but if you correct me if I'm wrong, and I know logic is not playing games with me, if you win the Royal Rumble, you main event fucking WrestleMania. Okay? Continuing on with the report. Numerous WWE sources have concurred that the decision to go with The Rock versus Roman Reigns Mania weekend expected to be officially announced this Thursday in Las Vegas for the Philly event. It was a push by The Rock to move into the Mania main event, backed by top TKO Group holding executives. While WWE had been expertly building to a Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns rematch, some sources believe it was done by Johnson to, one source stated, quote-unquote, save WrestleMania. PW Insider is stating that The Rock, this whole decision of The Rock versus Roman Reigns, after years of saying, oh, give it time, now, out of all fucking moments, is like, you know what, man, we have the CM Punk injury, all this Vince McMahon news is kind of, ignoring the limelight and what we're doing in this product. Man, what could I do to, quote-unquote, save WrestleMania? This man thought it was a good idea. He thought he was going to save WrestleMania. Bro, The Rock actively made WrestleMania worse than it already was. Because we're no longer going to be getting the Seth and Punk match. Now we're on the verge of possibly not getting Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. What? Oh my God, I feel like it's 2014, 2015 all over again. Holy shit. Some sources, as The Rock stated, it was believed it was done by Johnson to, quote-unquote, save WrestleMania. After CM Punk and Brock Lesnar, for different reasons, were taken off the board from the biggest weekend of the year. Others believe that The Rock pushed for the move and likely would have no matter what, given his massive $30 million stock payday is in part contingent on him hitting certain milestones. Sources familiar with the situation believe that one of those milestones was Johnson returning to the ring this year, and that Johnson pushed for the match to happen sooner than later with the idea he felt Reigns versus The Rock was a far bigger attraction for the company. Nobody's denying that. But again, WrestleMania is damn near sold out. So, I mean, the name WrestleMania alone sells itself. And based off of the business that WWE is doing now, I mean, these people are shattering records. And guess what? They're not involving the fucking Rock. So why does The Rock believe that, Cody and Roman shouldn't happen and Rock and Roman should happen because it's a bigger attraction? What? WWE is doing mega business regardless. They don't need The Rock. Are you joking with me? Stupid. Continuing on. So it's very possible that no matter who was injured or not, Cody versus Reigns would not have taken place because The Rock was back in the game and the most important members of company management were going to acquaint to Dwayne Johnson's ideas. With Johnson's power as a member of the TKO board of directors, his Hollywood standing and the backing of Ari Emanuel, Nick Khan, and others, the decision was made believing it would be a greater attraction for the mainstream and also help push some positive momentum for the company. Okay, first off, who got themselves in that mess? First off, it was Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon resigned, and clearly that is not enough. Vince McMahon is in more deep shit than ever. And basically what WWE is doing right now, and rightfully so, is they're giving Vince McMahon the Chris Benoit treatment. They're giving him the Chris Benoit treatment, basically stating, yeah, everything that you have done before, we're going to completely erase that from history. And rightfully so, because some of the stuff in the past was pretty disgusting. And basically that resembles Vince McMahon, the person. But help push some positive momentum for the company. I mean, Cody Rhodes, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Cody Rhodes the biggest babyface that you have in your company right now? If there's anybody that can send a positive message to the WWE, it's clearly Cody fucking Rhodes. But no, we got to take that away from Cody Rhodes because he's not that big of a star. Really? I mean, wasn't Cody Rhodes' merchandise sales recently at the Royal Rumble the highest for any wrestler during the Royal Rumble? So now we're going to just ignore that Cody Rhodes isn't a needle mover because I do believe, based off of his merch sales and everything else, Cody Rhodes is a needle mover. People have been behind this guy throughout the past 2 years. And I could even argue that ever since his loss, who at the time I thought was the wrong decision, throughout as 2023 went by, as we head towards the summer of 2023, and as we headed towards the fall of 2023, Cody Rhodes and his popularity started to, go higher and higher and higher. But no, we're not gonna focus on Cody Rhodes anymore, even though we were telling the story for the past 2 fucking years. We're gonna ignore all of that for The Rock. Because, of course, in previous years, The Rock was like, nah, wait for the story, wait for the story to be right. But all of a sudden, he comes in at the worst possible moment and sabotages everything. This guy sabotaged WrestleMania in less than a week, on a whole night. One whole segment it took for The Rock to sabotage WrestleMania. Continuing on. Positive momentum for the company, my ass. One source compared it to Johnson's attempt, and this is actually a funny analogy because I was recently trying to get back into the saddle with Marvel because I am a Marvel fan, and I'm not the biggest DC fan, but PW Insider actually put up a really interesting comparison / analogy. One source compared it to Johnson's attempt to take over the overall creative for the DC film franchise. The DCEU, which, by the way, I believe recently ended with the last Aquaman movie that came out, Aquaman the Lost Kingdom. I believe that movie, that new Aquaman movie, is the last DCEU movie. Because after that, Warner Brothers is like, you know what, bro? We're going to reboot the entire DCEU. And we're not even going to call it the DCEU. We're just going to call it the DCU. The DCEU ended up being a total flop, right? One source compared it to Johnson's attempt to take over the overall creative for the DC film franchise, noting that he came in originally as an actor to portray Black Adam. By the time the process was done, he had changed the original trajectory for the plans from playing the opposition for Shazam, instead pushing that Adam should have his own film so he could eventually be set up to face Superman instead, and even went over the heads of executives to their superiors to get ideas approved. Johnson's long game was to gain control of the entire DC film franchise, only to lose that attempt to Warner Brothers Discovery, or when Warner Brothers Discovery gave that power to instead James Gunn and Peter Safran. Wow. So the Rock basically lost faith in the DC franchise and the comic book movie fandom, and he lost faith in the football fandom. Apparently, a lot of football fans do not like The Rock, and now he's starting to lose faith from the wrestling fans after this shit went down. Very similar. But in WWE, there isn't going to be anyone that's not going to at least consider Dwayne Johnson's ideas. He's The Rock and has a big history of selling tickets and merchandise and movies at the end of the day. WrestleMania is about spectacle, and The Rock equals spectacle. Okay, I understand that. But again, focus towards the future. WWE right now is doing mega business. Why? Why is WWE doing mega business right now? It's because the people in charge actually know what the fuck they're doing. Once Vince McMahon stepped down and Triple H took over that creative realm and that creative role for the WWE, business started booming immediately. Storylines started to be more consistent. More wrestlers start to become bigger stars. Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso. Bro, those guys are starting to become merch sellers. Look at the cast of wrestlers that they have now. The cast of baby faces alone that the current roster has. WWE has a slew of baby faces that are on the running to be moneymakers for them. Cody Rhodes, LA Knight, Jey Uso, especially Jey Uso and LA Knight. Look at the popularity of LA Knight. You don't think that you don't have faith in those guys? They could easily be needle movers for the company moving forward. Cody Rhodes being the most important out of all of them. Cody Rhodes held this company on his back for the last 2 years. He recently returned to the WWE and basically told everybody, hey man, I'm going to be the face of the WWE. And he's on that run. He's on the running for that. And now you're going to sabotage that? You are really going to sabotage that. Continuing on. PW Insider was told that This wasn't done to target or politic Cody out of his main event out of malice. Of course they're going to say that. Of course they're going to say that. But out of the belief that Johnson was the best idea to make money now and respect his new position with the company's parent company. Oh, yes. Let's get myself. I'm a part of the board of directors, and right now the company, the way the perception by the mainstream media from the company based off of the actions and the sole actions alone of Vince McMahon. Yeah, you know what? Let's take Cody Rhodes, who is a positive. Let's take Cody Rhodes, who is a positive influence on the perception of WWE. Let's take him out of the main event of WrestleMania, even though we know we've been telling the story for the past 2 fucking years, only for me to take his spot and face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. F off. Wasn't done to target or politic Cody out of this main event. Bro, this was politicking at its finest, bro. This was politicking at its finest. This was a strategic move to give Johnson more political power overall and to show Endeavor's faith in his involvement that even Paul Levesque, who has done an admirable job as the chief creative officer, would, quote-unquote, lose that power struggle with Johnson at this point, as one source surmised. One source confirmed to PW Insider, the former senior vice president of development at Johnson's Seven Bucks Productions, Brian Gwartz, who, by the way, Brian Gwartz was formerly a part of the WWE creative team, will be in the mix as the voice representing Johnson in the WWE creative process going forward. There are some who believe Gwartz, who at one point was the longest tenured WWE head writers, will be around physically at least for major shows going forward. It could even be there as quote-unquote plan B if Endeavor needs to pivot WWE's direction and go with a Johnson-backed creative team down the line. Oh my goodness. Good God. One WWE talent privately wondered to PWInsider.com this morning if perhaps Johnson was going to be the plan all along, but he hadn't committed until late in the game, which made them wonder where CM Punk would have been positioned if he hadn't torn his tricep, and whether or not that injury prevented Punk from learning he too would have lost the WrestleMania main event slot. Imagine if Punk hadn't gotten injured and this had happened. Oh my God, he probably would have lost that WrestleMania spot too. Literally, the actions of The Rock is literally affecting everybody else. That's crazy. Crazy! Continuing on. There's no way to ever know that, but it was something that has to be pondered given how quickly WWE turned the WrestleMania creative direction for Johnson. As far as the future for Cody, the current plan is for him to face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 40. Everything ass backwards. Really? But Cody Rhodes beat him 3 times in a row. Now you're going to have him beat Seth Rollins a 4th time? That, to me, I don't give a shit what anybody says. That makes no sense. That absolutely makes no sense. A direction change that a lot of readers we've heard to from resent, given that he's been pushing to, quote-unquote, finish his story all year, that finishing the story was in reach after a Royal Rumble win, and that even the WWE 2K24 video game, which Cody, by the way, is on the cover of, is themed in part around fans, quote-unquote, finishing their own story. I hate to break it to you, but Cody Rhodes beating Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship does not equal Cody Rhodes finishing the story. Just because Cody Rhodes wins the World Heavyweight title does not mean Cody Rhodes finishes the story. Why? Because it's a world title? No, it's the secondary title, and it will always be the secondary title. Don't believe what any of these imbeciles on social media tell you. The World Heavyweight title will and always will be. It was and always will be the secondary title. The consolation prize, as a lot of people want to say. I guarantee you, when everybody was calling it a consolation prize before the World Heavyweight title was even announced, nobody even knew what the word consolation meant. Okay? But the World Heavyweight title is a secondary title. It was and it will always be the secondary title, no matter what way WWE or Seth Rollins or anybody else would like to spin it to you. It will always be the secondary title, just like AEW will always be the number 2 organization. That is just fact. It is the same shit. Cody Rhodes beating Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title is clearly not finishing his story. What finishes Cody Rhodes' story is him winning the Royal Rumble, going to WrestleMania, avenging his loss because he got fucked last year when Solo Sikoa came in and basically kind of ruined everything for Cody Rhodes and all of his dreams went crashing down. Beating Roman Reigns, ending his 1,000-plus day record as champion, and winning the most coveted title in the entire industry. The exact same title that his father got taken away from him. And that is the WWE Undisputed title. That is finishing his story. Oh, but people are saying, oh, finishing the story does not equal WrestleMania. What? I could make the same argument that Rock and Roman, yes, it's a WrestleMania level match, but it doesn't need to happen at WrestleMania. At this stage of the game, you can do it at Saudi Arabia. You can do it where you can do it at Elimination Chamber. I even advocated that this should happen at Elimination Chamber, but no. Roman Reigns is apparently not advertised for the Elimination Chamber. But not happening at WrestleMania. I'm sorry, WrestleMania is the biggest show of the year. Now, granted, you can counter that argument with, oh yeah, but The Rock and Roman is a WrestleMania match. Yeah. But again, my problem is not with The Rock wrestling Roman Reigns. My problem is the timing of everything. That is my problem. My problem is the timing. Because a lot of people, now I wasn't one of those people. People are saying people have been asking this match for years and now we're getting it and people are complaining. I'm sorry, but you're talking to the wrong fucking fan. I was never asking for this match. If anything, I didn't want to see this match take place. I'm being honest. I did not want to see this match take place. I would understand why people would want to see this match take place, but as the years went on, rumors every fucking year about The Rock versus Roman Reigns, this and that, I always laughed at those people. Because clearly, they watch too much wrestling, and they don't go outside, and they fantasy book out of their ass. And they see the Rock and Roman Reigns, and they're like, that needs to be the main event for this year's WrestleMania, without any IQ whatsoever. I don't care what anybody says. But originally, if there was any time for this match to happen, it could have happened last year. Think about this: if we lived in a different world, and Cody Rhodes never returned to the WWE and he was still with AEW, if there was any way that I could tell you, hey man, when can we do The Rock versus Roman Reigns? Last year would have been perfect. WrestleMania goes Hollywood, The Rock versus Roman Reigns, it's perfect. But no, The Rock was like, nah, man, nah, we're not gonna do it because I got a big schedule and the story doesn't fit. Huh? But The Rock thought clearly the story fit at this time, right? He thought the story fit by sabotaging Cody, and I don't give a shit what anybody says. He clearly sabotaged Cody. Look right there in the photo that you guys are watching right now. Look at the look on this man's face. Cody looks defeated. This guy looks distraught, bruh. He looks like a man that has been wronged for the second straight year in a row. This man has the look on his face with the realization like, damn, they really fucked me. Because, newsflash, they did. They fucked him. And now, we're possibly looking at a scenario that Cody Rhodes is going to face Seth Rollins instead for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania. Continuing on with this PW Insider report, I don't think anyone, especially pivotally, would deny within the WWE forces behind Cody Rhodes control changed the board game at the reality of the new WWE. The old rules don't matter, and Endeavor is going to do what they believe will maximize their business, and their choices may indeed prove to be correct, even though they are the most unpopular with the audience that has been ravenously following Cody and supporting him throughout the last several years. The reality is this, and this is what Mike Johnson stated, and I quote, "While the story was primed to climax at WrestleMania 40, there were already some in the company openly talking about the idea of Cody winning the World Heavyweight Championship and then challenging the winner of Roman versus Rock for SummerSlam in a title unification bout that Cody could finally really promise this time finish this story." So you're telling me you're going to unify once again the World Heavyweight title and the WWE title? Because think about this. The main reason why the World Heavyweight title was introduced was because basically nobody wanted to take the belt off of Roman. And the whole purpose of the World Heavyweight title was to have a champion on Raw. That was basically the whole creative point. And now, like, a year and a half later, you're just going to abolish that title? What? So what the fuck was the point of having a secondary world title? So you're basically doing everything backwards at this point. This is fucking stupid. A title unification? What? Why do you want to do a title unification? Just go after fucking Roman at WrestleMania instead of waiting longer. Why do we have to wait longer for Cody Rhodes? We've invested all this time for 2 goddamn years. Now that I think about it, I'm starting to believe that it was the wrong decision to have Cody Rhodes lose last year. You know, I don't want to say I famously tweeted out, but I remember tweeting out of anger. I tweeted this out out of anger right after Cody Rhodes lost to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania last year. WWE never respected the Rhodes family. And I even stated, I regret that tweet. But out of anger, I was pissed. I'm like, really? You're going to have Cody lose? And then as the year went by, I was like, damn, he's getting more and more over. The crowd is starting to like him. They are telling Cody Rhodes a story of hard times. That is what they're doing. Nope. The Rock comes in and fucks everything up. That is crazy. Continuing on with the PW Insider Report. It sounds nice in theory, but given that there is a young audience currently in love with the WWE product, and in Rhodes in particular not giving them what they want, a Rhodes versus Reigns showdown that they have been all but promised for a year is quite the creative choice and a leap, and one that could prove to be the moment where WWE disenfranchises some of their fans. For all the things that upset fans from the last week, and rightfully about the company, none of the complaints were about the storylines, but overnight, things have changed drastically. It wasn't all that long ago that WWE fans in Philadelphia rejected Roman Reigns' Rumble win because they wanted Daniel Bryan. Even with The Rock making a surprise return to endorse him, Philly booed what was forced upon them. Now in 2024, WWE has primed Cody Rhodes and will instead walk back into Philly with The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Which, by the way, I guarantee you Philadelphia will boo the shit out of that match because they know what to expect regarding The Rock. Within 5 minutes, The Rock will be gassed in that match. I guarantee you. They had the hero the audience wanted to embrace and then removed him from the great moment the audience wanted. Whether they will attempt to rectify that for the fans that are let down this morning, possibly by reconfiguring plans again to maneuver Cody back into the mix with The Rock and Reigns, or just stay the course they have now laid out, remains to be seen. But 3 things are obvious. 1, this may prove to make Cody Rhodes the modern-day equivalent of what Daniel Bryan was back in 2014. A star that the audience mobilizes for and gets behind because they are so sympathetic for him. Newsflash, they were always sympathetic for Cody Rhodes. 2, for the portion of the WWE audience today, it doesn't matter what The Rock's name is. To them, based on the overnight reaction, if the name isn't Cody, it's not going to matter because that's not the story that they want to see. 3, to another portion of the audience, it will matter that Dwayne Johnson is the main eventer because it's The Rock, and that's what Endeavor and The Rock are counting on, that Johnson's star power will empower the company to the biggest WrestleMania of all time. Once more, what happens behind the scenes, as suspenseful as anything plays out in the squared circle, we will see how this story is finished. That was the PW Insider Report. Now, Fightful did produce a couple of updates, by the way, which I will read to you guys, but holy shit. This, again, and this is like the 3rd time I mentioned this, but look at this. Look at the face of Cody Rhodes right here. If you guys are watching this in video format, like look at the Cody Rhodes' face. You guys, y'all can't tell me Cody Rhodes was legitimately pissed off. Look, I understand Cody Rhodes is a very professional individual, and I respect that. The guy can eat shit and still have a smile on his face, and I will always commend Cody Rhodes for that. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the definition of a top guy. Cody Rhodes embodies everything a top guy should be. And he's putting it with a smile on his face, knowing that he's getting fucked over. But he needs to, I guarantee you he thinks like, damn, they really fucked me. That, I guarantee you that is what Cody Rhodes is thinking right now. Damn, did they really fuck me in the ass this time? They really screwed me over. Right when you thought Cody Rhodes was about to finish his story, nope. They fucked it up. They fucked it up. Again, a week ago, I was excited about WrestleMania. Before the Royal Rumble, I'm like, bro, this is the most excited I've been for a WrestleMania in fucking years. I mean, last year I was really excited because Again, it was the first WrestleMania under Triple H. And by the way, WrestleMania 39 will go down as one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. I don't care what anybody says, especially Night 1. Night 1 was better than Night 2, but as a whole, WrestleMania 39 from a creative standpoint was damn near perfect. Now, granted, the ending for the Roman Reigns Cody match was kind of fucked up, but you get my drift. I was looking at this WrestleMania and looking at the potential card that we were going to be having. The main event of Night 1 of WrestleMania. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. A big-time money match. If that is not a big-time money match, I do not know what big-time money match is. That was a match made in heaven, in my opinion. Made by the wrestling gods, some people would like to say. We would have Io Sky versus Bayley. Great match. Brock Lesnar versus Gunther. Looking back, that was a match at the time I didn't want to see, but looking at this stage of the game, I was like, damn, you know what? I'm actually kind of intrigued by that. Because, Triple H is booking the whole thing. I think he'd make that match look like $1 million. But nope, the Vince McMahon story came out, and that completely derailed plans for Brock Lesnar, and rightfully so. And Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns too. Cody Rhodes is finally going to finish his story. Man, this WrestleMania is looking awesome. And then we go to the Royal Rumble. Cody wins. Everything is fine. Bayley wins. Great. I know some people didn't like the men's Royal Rumble. Some people didn't like the women's Royal Rumble. But at the end of the day, the outcomes were correct. The outcomes were correct. But then CM Punk gets injured. God forbid if CM Punk had won that Royal Rumble and he had gotten injured. WWE would have been in a worse position than they already are. I mean, they're in a really bad position now, but they would have been in a way worse position if Punk had won the Rumble. But Punk got injured. And we were in the exact same boat that we were when Seth Rollins wrestled Jinder Mahal and got injured. Seth Rollins is still injured. But Punk suffered a torn tricep, the same injury he suffered when he wrestled Jon Moxley at All Out in 2022. The very same night where he cut that real-life pipe bomb. And no, this was not a work shoot. That was a real-life pipe bomb right next to his boss. Yeah. So Punk is going to be out, and he's going to miss WrestleMania. So where does that leave Seth Rollins? We do not know. Hey, but look, even though we don't have that match, hey, at least we have Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, right? Nope. WWE basically shat in all of our faces and gave us The Rock. And from what it looks like, we're going to be getting The Rock versus Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns. I'm so pissed off. I keep mispronouncing everything. We're getting The Rock versus Roman Reigns as the main event of WrestleMania. Bullshit. Why? At this stage of the game, I could easily continue to scream and be pissed off, but I just have to ask, why? Why now? Why do we have to get this match now? Why do we have to get this match now? I don't want to see it. You have fans on the internet defending this shit, like saying, fans were asking this match for years. Now we're getting it and you're complaining about it. Bro, y'all don't understand the point. My problem is not with the match. My problem is with the timing of everything. You're basically bringing back The Rock in the worst possible time. As everybody's expecting Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, the biggest babyface, not only in WWE, the biggest babyface in the entire fucking industry. You're going to fuck him over like that? Are you serious? No! Bro! I swear to God, these people are stupid. And I hate saying that about the current WWE regime, but God damn it, I'm going to say it. These people are fucking stupid. And they fumbled very badly WrestleMania. WrestleMania could have been so simple to book, but they absolutely, in the most selfish way possible. I don't give a shit what anybody says. That was selfish on The Rock's part. I don't care. The Rock may be the nicest guy in the world, but in my opinion, and this is just coming from my perspective, this was a selfish, that is the key word, selfish move by Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Fightful has provided multiple updates. In one of the most controversial moves in wrestling booking history, The Rock is poised to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40 instead of Cody Rhodes, and that is not official yet, but from what it looks like, that is going to be the case. Now, they did announce a press conference in Las Vegas, and apparently they're either going to announce a Rock versus Roman match at this year's WrestleMania in Las Vegas, or they're probably going to announce WrestleMania 41, which I believe the rumor is Las Vegas, that they are going to be the venue for WrestleMania 40. Fightful will preface that this story is by stating that nothing has been officially announced. By the way, I just stated that. And as always in pro wrestling, plans can change, just as they did over the last week. There are many in the company that are cautiously optimistic that if the reaction that WWE received Friday night doesn't change, maybe a pivot could be in order. Oh yeah, there was a reaction, by the way. The most disliked video in the history of WWE's YouTube channel. I wonder why that is the case. And no, the internet is not a minority audience, even though some people would like to argue, because technology is changing every day. Television ain't no longer the norm. The internet has a big say on what's going on, and I wonder why. Casual people use the internet. Don't fool yourself. But, of course, people are not going to recognize that. Continuing on. As of now, the plan for WrestleMania is The Rock versus Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. Sources in creative confirmed that as of recently, the working plan was Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Punk's title shot was set to be set up at the Elimination Chamber PLE. Brock Lesnar versus Dominic Mysterio at the Elimination Chamber, and Lesnar versus Gunther from WrestleMania were also canceled from creative plans, as Lesnar and Punk were eliminated from creative moving forward. While Cody Rhodes professed loudly at the Royal Rumble that he was coming after Roman Reigns, there were some in the company that claimed that they have heard as of that afternoon that The Rock had agreed to face Reigns. We've also heard that there was The Rock, quote-unquote, head of the table, WrestleMania-themed merchandise prototypes within the company by that weekend. Man, they wasted no time, didn't they? They wasted no fucking time. Nobody that Fightful has spoke to could make the order of operations make sense, but many were hopeful that WWE and TKO would see the reaction and pivot. You can see many of the reactions that Fightful has garnered below, which I will be reading to you guys. Those that we have spoken to said that The Rock had not only pushed to work the match, some thought he was even pushing to win the match. Okay, now, if that is not delusional, I don't know what is. Because I think every fan with the brain would know that if a Rock and Roman match were to take place, there's only one logical outcome to this whole match. And that is not The Rock beating Roman Reigns. It's actually the other way around. The most logical decision out of that whole match, if the match were to happen, which most likely it will at this point, is The Rock, or Roman Reigns, beating The Rock. That is the most logical idea. Now The Rock is pushing to beat Roman Reigns. Really? Instead of passing the torch to a guy that is clearly slated to be the face of the company, you're going to have a guy that is never around, that is now a part of your board of directors, going to dethrone the biggest star that you have. Delusional and selfish. I don't care what anybody says. The Rock may be the nicest guy, but to me, that is absolutely selfish. Selfish on The Rock's part. Continuing on. Those that we've spoken to said that The Rock had not only pushed to work the match, some thought he was even pushing to win the match. Regardless of what the finish will be, multiple sources said that they viewed this as a political move that TKO believes will result in more immediate money than would have been with Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Bro. See, that's the problem right there. And look, I understand this is a business, all right? Business always comes first. And people are in this business to make money. I understand that. And I agree with that. If you're not in this business to make money, why the fuck are you in this business? But god damn it, man. How delusional can these people be knowing that WrestleMania is damn near sold out and they're going to make their money regardless? They're going to make their money regardless what match is going to be on. Whatever match is going to be out on WrestleMania. Whatever match that is going to be the main event of WrestleMania, they will make the same amount of money regardless. Last year's WrestleMania. I keep mentioning last year's WrestleMania. Last year's WrestleMania broke fucking records as probably the most profitable WrestleMania of all fucking time. And guess what? That didn't include The Rock. It didn't include The Rock, by the way. But no, we have to add The Rock because, we need more mainstream publicity. Bro, fuck that. You already have your mainstream publicity. You don't need The Rock. You don't need The Rock. Sources within TKO swore this wasn't done out of malice to Rhodes, which, they will tell you that, but clearly they're lying straight to your face. And value him as a talent, but believe that those involved with the decision-making underestimated how the patience of the audience has worn thin on the situation. There have been some creative shakeups within WWE as of late. Sources on the creative team expect The Rock's longtime business partner and friend, a former WWE creative member, Brian Gewirtz, to factor in heavily to The Rock's creative plans moving forward. He's expected to be around from time physically as well. Fightful reached out to Brian Gewirtz about the role, but were not immediately able to get comment unless it was an interview approved by the WWE. TKO sources did say that they valued Gewirtz's skill set and that they could have see him in a key WWE role creatively if the right situation aligned between all parties. Regarding the timeline of events, we're told that Cody was at least informed as of Friday that this was the decision. He didn't travel to SmackDown without knowing. Talent, including The Rock, had been booked for the February 8th press conference in Las Vegas by that time, though The Rock's involvement wasn't clear. Naturally, Fightful asked if the move was done in order to take attention or publicity away from WWE, Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis scandal and the lawsuits that were going on. Sources in the know claimed that The Rock was actually pushing this before. Wow, really? But admitted that it couldn't have hurt the process to get any mainstream publicity that was not associated with the scandals. It's worth noting that The Rock and Ari Emanuel have a long-standing relationship, and The Rock is the biggest star tied to the Endeavor brand. Fightful had heard as of 3 weeks ago that there was a talent element being pitched for his role within TKO, as both sides wanted to maximize the huge deal they made around the board position, licensing fees, and the rights of the Rock name. For those wondering, the early word is that The Rock will attempt to work a quote-unquote full-length match. Oh, good God. But there is no word on if he'd be opening to continue to wrestle. But there are some concerns about him working a WrestleMania main event length match after his recent appearances. I wonder why. All parties involved will be at the Las Vegas Media Press on Thursday. Fightful Sean Ross Sapp and Instant Culture's Denise Salcedo will be on the scene. Fightful also provided reactions within WWE. For the sake of transparency, I should say, Fightful reached out to other 36 contacts within WWE across all of departments. None that got back to them even played devil's advocate for the decision to run The Rock versus Roman Reigns, and the decision was universally planned from those that Fightful has spoken with. One wrestler told Fightful, and I quote, "I've known Dwayne for a long time. Not only did the look on Cody's face tell the story, the look on Dwayne's told the story. I think in that moment he knew that this decision wasn't going to work out quite the way he'd imagined it to be." You don't say. He was experiencing the same thing that he and Roman experienced in Philadelphia. He was being co-signed for something the vast majority didn't want. Everybody that we heard back from understood the business implications of running the match, but believed it wasn't a good decision for the long-term WWE business, and that is the key point. It wasn't a good decision for long-term WWE business. Another quote stated, "The Rock versus Roman made sense several years ago when we were running back Roman and Lesnar repeatedly. Could have made sense this year had Cody won the title last year. This is one of the very few years where it just doesn't make sense in any capacity," one former world champion told Fightful. A source in creative that many on the team were deflated, and it felt like the decision they'd hear about being made under the previous regime at the expense of helping cultivate new crossover talent. Yeah, this is clearly reminiscent of a situation and a scenario that Vince McMahon would have done. Another source that had worked with The Rock was much more stern, saying The Rock eroded his trust with the comic and superhero community, with the film community, maybe with the football community, and might do it with the one that he's almost universally goodwill with. He's not a bad guy, don't mistake that or get me wrong. He's a great guy. However, bad timing and overexposure and fatigue will make fools of us all. You have to know when to take a back seat. PW Insider was told that the move was not done to politic Cody out of the main event with malice, and one top talent sent Fightful a screenshot and said, quote unquote, "I truly believe The Rock wasn't being malicious. Not being malicious with intent and actions, not having malicious repercussions aren't exclusive." Another longtime member of the creative team said, quote unquote, "There have been numerous meetings, pitches, attempts to get The Rock on this match or in any match for years, and it never happened. One year, the excuse was that the story didn't make sense. Not only does it make less sense than ever right now, it's undermining one of the biggest stories we've ever told and turning off a lot of our fans." And 100% I agree with that. The Rock's family passed the McMahon family in the past week as far as power dynamic in pro wrestling, and it's probably not going to change anytime soon, said one person who has worked with all parties involved numerous times. Continuing on, Fightful continued on with The Rock and Roman Reigns. 2 days after the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns and Rock saga, it's still a hot topic online and within the company. Sources that Fightful has spoke to said that Cody Rhodes was professional backstage around the situation, but probably seemed somber in retrospect now that many know what was happening. WWE definitely taken note of posts that highlighted polls, dislikes, and social and mainstream coverage. This whole, by the way, I'm going to stop right there real quick. I'm going to go back and reading this, but this whole situation was the big topic point. This whole Cody Rhodes, The Rock, Roman Reigns thing was such a huge talking point to the point where TMZ even reported all of the outrage. That is crazy. The outrage is big. Hashtag we want Cody. Yeah, #1 trending on Twitter right now. WWE definitely had taken note of the post that highlighted the polls, dislikes on social, and the mainstream coverage. There's no way that we can rule out this potentially being a work from the start or becoming one, but we'll continue to get reactions and news from within the company. If it is a work or is on the direction of becoming one, it's being close to the vest. Look, if this is a work, to me it's kind of unwarranted backlash, but there's any good that can come out of this. If this is a work, Cody will look like the biggest babyface out there. I'll give them that. But again, I have no full faith in these corporate suits and ties. The reactions that we've gained from additional WWE talent and staff is a little adjusted today from what we had heard initially, as many in the company still think that WWE either had motives or may course correct. Please note that these are not opinions within those of the company, reports of adjusted creative plans. One source, and I'm not going to read everything, but one source said that, quote unquote, well, this is preferable to the coverage of Vince McMahon, but that's not going anywhere either. At least this there can be peaks and valleys, and some sane people can justify it with the coverage that we were getting last week. It was all negative. This was a sentiment echoed by many, with one saying, quote unquote, maybe the company prefers to appear inept than malicious by proxy of Vince. For the record, we will continue to cover all of the above. We're actively working to aid a couple of mainstream outlets in navigating the wrestling landscape and help gather information on the lawsuit and additional allegations as well. I'm going to stop right there. I'm not going to continue reading these quotes. Holy shit, it's already an hour and 2 minutes in this podcast. I've literally spent the whole hour talking about Cody Rhodes and The Rock. I have. It is insane. I spent the whole hour talking about this whole situation. Oh, my God. I don't know what to say, man. I've already given my thoughts, so I don't even know what else to say, but I feel so bad for Cody Rhodes right now. I spent an hour talking about this, but I don't care. I feel so bad for Cody Rhodes. Seriously, I feel so bad for the poor guy. Because he left AEW after getting booed out of the building in a lot of AEW shows throughout the last couple of months he was there, to betting on himself and going back to the WWE in hopes of he can become a bigger star further on down the line. And he has done that. And look where Cody Rhodes is at now in his career. Cody Rhodes right now is slated to become the face of the company. The face of the WWE. This generation's John Cena, per se. This guy has the look. He has everything. He has a connection with the audience that is unparalleled. When was the last time that WWE has had a babyface like Cody Rhodes that the fans actually enjoy and they are not resenting? They are not resenting Cody Rhodes. It is not like John Cena back in 06, 07, 08, 09, 10, 11, 12, where the fans, love John Cena or, hate John Cena. The crowd was always split. It is not a Roman Reigns 2015 situation in which Roman Reigns was shoved down everybody's throats and everybody resented Roman Reigns and they had to turn him heel to change up his character. Now everybody loves Roman Reigns. Cody Rhodes is different. He is babyface as a babyface can get. This guy is the biggest babyface in the fucking industry. Bar none. I don't care what anybody says. The biggest babyface in the entire fucking industry. Not just in the WWE. The biggest babyface in the entire fucking industry. And he got fucked. From what the plan is possibly now, as Fightful and PW Insider are stating, that the plan is for night 1 of WrestleMania to be Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, and night 2 to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns, I don't give a shit what anybody says. Cody Rhodes got fucked. And he got fucked badly. And he got screwed. He got screwed. That is the only logical step that I can give you, the only logical analogy that I can give you, Cody Rhodes got screwed. And he got screwed badly. All because The Rock wanted to come in and take his spot away. And we're finally, quote unquote, finally, no pun intended, getting a Rock versus Roman Reigns match. A match that should have happened years ago. And apparently a match that fans were clamoring for, right? A match that fans were clamoring for. And a match that The Rock last year was like, I got a busy schedule and many interviews. I got a busy schedule. And the story is not there yet. The story is not right. But, oh, no. He comes in at the worst possible time. Think about this. He comes in at the worst possible time and sabotages everything regarding WrestleMania. I don't know what we're dealing with here, but my excitement for WrestleMania went from here all the way here. I don't even know if I'm going to be excited for this year's WrestleMania. I'm not going to be one of those people that say, I'm not going to watch WrestleMania. Because those people don't listen to those people. The people that say, oh, I'm no longer going to watch WWE, boycott WWE, boycott AEW. Those people will still watch. Don't listen to those people. Those people are delusional. Don't listen to those people. But I will be the type of guy that says that this is bullshit. Bullshit on all levels. Because right at the moment, and you know what's even worse? He won the Royal Rumble. For fuck's sakes. And look where it has gotten him. Nowhere. Now we're probably going to have to wait till SummerSlam. I'm sorry, but I don't want to wait for Cody Rhodes anymore. I've been waiting for 3 fucking years at this point. No, I've been waiting for 2 years. What are you talking about? 2 years at this point. I've been waiting for 2 frickin' years at this point. What more is there? I thought we lived in an era where a lot of things were going to change in the WWE, and I still do believe that. But the old saying goes, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And that is what we have experienced the last couple of days. Those are my thoughts on The Rock and Cody Rhodes. More information, I'll come right here on the show and I'll talk about this because really this whole thing just pisses me the fuck off in a very, very negative way. And it's a shame. It's a shame. Cody Rhodes is not going to finish his story. And unfortunately, he got sabotaged. He got sabotaged by one Dwayne The Rock Johnson. It sucks. It really does suck. WrestleMania is now worse than it already is. It just is. It just is. Moving on, we're going to be talking about Vince McMahon. This podcast is not even over, even though it's an hour and 8 minutes. This podcast is not over. We're going to be talking about Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon reportedly drafted and signed NDAs without WWE's knowledge. Ooh. Now the NDAs that were signed may not be enforceable. Ooh. Vince McMahon's in deep shit right now. I'm reading this, by the way, from F4WOnline.com. People at the Wrestling Observer. So, they are not the original source, but I'm reading the article from their website. The NDAs that several women signed with Vince McMahon were reportedly created in secret and entered into without WWE's knowledge, with McMahon going as far as to sign them on the company's behalf. Damn, life is biting Vince McMahon in the ass. The report comes from, quote-unquote, a person familiar with the situation via Vice's Tim Marchman, who added the detail is the reason WWE had to issue a revised earnings statement following the summer of 2022 scandal that erupted when McMahon's hush money payments to women he allegedly had sexual affairs with became public. Talking with several legal experts, Marchman reported that the terms in the aforementioned NDAs are likely unenforceable. In Janelle Grant's case, the fact that McMahon paid $1 million of the $3 million agreed to likely makes any deal null and void. Oh, shit. From the story, and I quote, an NDA cannot be used as a shield to prevent a victim from bringing criminal charges or speaking to investigators. These women or others desire to speak out in public or bring civil suits, though it's not clear that an agreement like the one Grant signed would prevent that. The day after, his lawyer said that his client was a victim like Grant under McMahon's control. Laurinaitis' lawyer, Edward Brennan, told Vice that they will, quote-unquote, go where the evidence leads when it comes to whether other company executives were aware and involved in what Grant was allegedly happening during her 3-year tenure within the WWE. There is then the revelation that McMahon signed the secret agreements on the company's behalf without their knowledge after getting counsel from longtime lawyer Jerry McDevitt. And another quote by the people at Vice, according to a source familiar with the matter, though the contract was in fact executed, with McMahon secretly signing on both his behalf and that of WWE after seeking counsel from his longtime attorney, Jerry McDevitt, seeming conflict of interest Goldberg called, quote-unquote, bizarre, end quote. Goldberg, and no, I'm not talking about Bill Goldberg. Goldberg is lawyer Carrie Goldberg, who represented victims of Harvey Weinstein and was interviewed for the article. She was also noted that the copy of Grant filed in the lawsuit wasn't signed by McMahon in, quote-unquote, in either his personal capacity or role as then chairman of WWE, as, quote-unquote, normally all parties would have received an executed copy of the contract. McMahon stepped down from TKO executive chairman last Friday, a day after the lawsuit became public, and on Friday it became public that McMahon had been under federal investigation for the allegations first surfaced in 2022. Now, Fightful had put up an update regarding John Laurinaitis and more news regarding John Laurinaitis and Vince McMahon, and it was actually very interesting. The Vince McMahon-John Laurinaitis situations are not going away anytime soon. In addition to lawsuits, federal investigations were revealed for the former WWE owner and longtime crony, John Laurinaitis. Fightful Select was told earlier this week by longtime employees that they personally expected McMahon to be eventually charged because, quote-unquote, if the feds raided Vince and got his phone, they'll almost surely find something. Fightful has spoken with a number of people within the industry, but at least one of which claims that they know more people involved. They've been contacted by reporters, attorneys, and like already have indicated that if the additional names involved aren't identified, they'll do it themselves. Fightful has spoken with multiple mainstream outlets that are looking to navigate the wrestling landscape and collect info, and we've provided some of them upon request. A longtime employee of WWE says that they don't even believe that the lawsuit is, quote-unquote, the worst of it. Pointing to higher settlements, Fightful can confirm that other potential victims have been identified and contacted by attorneys and media outlets to see if they wanted to take action. Laurinaitis himself has turned on Vince McMahon in what one person who referred to themselves as a longtime former friend of Laurinaitis called, quote-unquote, rats jumping off a sinking ship. Laurinaitis' attorney reached out to several in the industry in what many believe is his team trying to find allies or find out who has been talked to help gauge his best options moving forward. So John Laurinaitis is trying to turn on Vince McMahon, huh? Apparently that is what they're stating. It's just a rumor, but probably that's good. That's probably going to be the case in regards to John Laurinaitis, huh? John Laurinaitis trying to turn on Vince McMahon. You know, I'm not mad about it considering that is exactly something Vince McMahon would do, but I digress. I have no sympathy for both Vince McMahon or John Laurinaitis anyway, so he's going to do whatever he wants to do, so it ain't going to affect me. He's going to try to do anything to survive at this point, but I have no sympathy for Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis. There's still heavy speculation over the source of the original Wall Street Journal leaks, with some thinking it could have been Grant and others believing it was a higher up in the WWE. It was also noted that the Wall Street Journal was able to contact names that many would not have been publicly aware that worked for WWE. It is believed that TKO became very aware of the mess on their hands after the merger, and one source believed that they would have handled the rollout much differently had they been aware of something like this was going to be imminent. However, they were very aware as of last week when McMahon was present at the New York Stock Exchange regarding the Netflix deal. No talent that Fightful has spoken to have had a wide talent meeting or claim that they have been briefed on the situation at hand. Instead, the reactions that Fightful has been hearing is that it appears that the higher-ups want to move on past Vince McMahon and put him on the rear view. There are talent that we've heard from that believe that Vince McMahon is delusional enough to try to work his way back into some kind of a role. However, it has been reiterated to several talent that Vince McMahon was done and he has no path to returning of the company. WWE is largely attempting to dissociate. Though Brock Lesnar was not identified in the suit he was referenced, since then his creative has been halted. He was not brought into Tampa and did not work the Royal Rumble and is not working at the Elimination Chamber against Dominic Mysterio as planned or working with Gunther as WrestleMania as planned. There is no creative plans to play for Brock Lesnar at the moment, and it was relied to Fightful that this doesn't mean that we'll never see him again, as the situation isn't as cut as dry as others. So yeah, that is basically the whole Fightful report regarding the whole Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis shtick. Look, all I gotta say in this matter is karma's a bitch, right? Karma's a bitch. Vince McMahon is getting what's coming to him. He is getting what's coming to him. If you guys haven't checked out the previous episode of the WrestleHavoc podcast, I literally spent the whole hour talking about Vince McMahon and everything else going on regarding Vince McMahon, because the information that came out about Vince McMahon is absolutely disgusting. Disgusting on all levels. If you guys haven't checked it out, the link will be in the description below. But again, karma's a bitch. Karma's a bitch. Vince McMahon deserves what's coming to him. He could possibly face criminal charges. We do not know. But, I mean, a lot of those NDAs that Vince McMahon signed apparently on the company's behalf, WWE did not even know of. That is a major, major, major setback for Vince McMahon. And clearly, this is not going to be a situation that Vince McMahon is going to easily throw money at and get swiped under the rug. This is going to go on for a long period of time. And Vince McMahon, holy crap, man, he is in deep shit right now. Deep, deep, deep shit right now. As far as John Laurinaitis, apparently there's talks of him possibly turning on Vince McMahon from a legal standpoint. Again, am I mad about John Laurinaitis doing that type of shit? No, because again, it is exactly the type of thing Vince McMahon would do to John Laurinaitis. He doesn't care if he's your friend. He will stab you in the back when you're not looking at him. Vince McMahon will do the exact same thing. He'd do the exact same thing. But at the end of the day, I don't care who turns on who. I have no sympathy for both men, because both men are absolutely disgusting. You know, the Bellas put out a statement on social media. I'm actually going to try to pull it up. The Bellas actually put up a statement, and this was actually very, very interesting. Let me actually try to pull it up right here. I put it on. I pulled it up on Brie and Nikki Garcia's. They're no longer the Bella Twins. Brie and Nikki Garcia's Instagram. They stated this, and I quote: "We are shocked and disheartened with the recent allegations against members of the WWE. It has been a lot to process since we found out this past week, just as you all did. This is something we don't stand for or condone from anybody, no matter who they are. We want all women to feel safe and supported in the workplace and in their everyday lives." Now, why did the Bellas post this? Well, it's because John Laurinaitis is married to the mother of the Bella Twins, of the Garcia twins. Yeah, they put out this statement. I feel bad for Brie and Nikki Garcia. I really do. The fact that, this situation happened, it sucks. It really, for them, it sucks. But when it comes to John Laurinaitis and Vince McMahon, I have no sympathy for both men. Both men are absolutely disgusting, and they deserve what is coming to them because, again, karma's a bitch. But that's my whole thought regarding this whole situation. Continuing on, we have Mercedes Moné. Yes, we're going to be talking about Mercedes Moné briefly on this show. We're almost going to get through with everything. Mercedes Moné is expected to appear for AEW in March. Of course, Mercedes Moné right now is one of the hottest free agents in all of pro wrestling, along with Kazuchika Okada. And I think it's clear as day, especially after the Royal Rumble, we all knew where Mercedes Moné was going to be headed, and it was not going to be with the WWE. More likely, she's going to be on her way to All Elite Wrestling. Mercedes Moné is still headed to AEW. Fightful Select's Sean Ross Sapp and Matt Man Radio's Andrew Zarian have learned more. AEW founder Tony Khan fueled speculation on Wednesday when it was announced that he'd have an announcement on the February 6th episode of AEW Dynamite. While no one will confirm, it was implied that it was related to the impending appearance of Mercedes Moné in AEW. However, we're not told that her signing would be outright mentioned as part of the rumored announcement. It's very similar to how they were building up CM Punk's announcement. If you guys do not recall, Tony Khan announced a big announcement for the next week on Dynamite back in 2021, the summer of 2021, and that announcement ended up being the first dance. I assume it's going to be something very similar. Apparently, there's rumors of AEW possibly booking TD Garden in Boston for Mercedes Moné. We're going to see what goes down. But continuing on with this report. However, what we have learned from numerous talents is that they have been told within the company and from those close to Mercedes, the working plan in All Elite Wrestling is for her to physically appear for the company in March, likely after the Revolution pay-per-view. We have not been told when she can make an in-ring wrestling debut for the company. It was noted to Fightful that her signing or arrival was never considered to be announced this past weekend, as rumored. Sean Ross Sapp was told this weekend by numerous WWE sources by the time December 29th rolled around and that WWE knew that they were out on Mercedes, and we were told that she would likely have been unable to perform at the Royal Rumble anyway. WWE sources and AEW talent that Fightful has spoke to are under the impression that Mercedes has been signed with AEW for weeks. AEW has not confirmed any elements of this story in any official capacity. Mercedes Moné, arguably right now the hottest free agent in all of professional wrestling right now. Her and Kazuchika Okada. AEW, in my opinion, is where she will end up. Most likely. I don't want to say guarantee, but you know what? I will say it. Guarantee AEW is Mercedes Moné's landing spot. AEW is clearly her landing spot. And honestly, if you really think about it, I've been very critical of the women's division in AEW, but AEW is really trying to take steps to really improve that women's division with the development of Toni Storm, with the arrival of Deonna Purrazzo, and now adding Mercedes Moné. And, once Jamie Hayter comes back, bro, that women's division is going to be fucking stacked. You just know it. But Mercedes Moné, it's not a coincidence that AEW is really making all of these different improvements in their women's division because they know Mercedes Moné is not just about money, man. She's about the way she is perceived on television. And she cares a lot about that stuff. So AEW is really trying their best to really make a great impression for Mercedes Moné. And from what it looks like right now, Mercedes Moné is on her way to AEW. And my personal opinion on it, great. At a time where AEW does not have any momentum whatsoever. Their momentum died ever since Brawl Out, in my opinion. Ever since Triple H took over the creative reins of WWE 2 years ago, or almost 2 years ago as we head towards the summer in a couple of months, and of course, Brawl Out, that was when AEW lost their momentum, and AEW hasn't been the same ever since. I don't care what anybody says. But when in regards to Mercedes Moné, AEW has been losing people left and right, but in exchange, they got people coming in. Deonna Purrazzo, Adam Copeland, they recently signed Will Ospreay. Swerve is on his way to the top of the card. Samoa Joe's currently your champion, and now you're possibly on the verge of bringing in Kazuchika Okada. Now you're bringing in Mercedes. Look, for AEW, even though at a time where they're struggling in their ticket sales, the future looks bright for the talent that they're bringing in. And if they bring in Mercedes Moné, I don't care what anybody says. That is arguably going to be the biggest signing that AEW has ever done since CM Punk. People need to realize Mercedes Moné, even though, a lot of people say, oh, but she was in a minor role on, the Mandalorian Star Wars show. Mercedes Moné has the ability to really cross over to the mainstream audience. And that is exactly what AEW needs. Swerve, in my opinion, has the ability to possibly in the next couple of months or even in the next couple of years to cross over with the mainstream audience. There's a lot of possibilities here. Edge already is crossing over with the mainstream audience, as of course he's playing Ares in the new Percy Jackson series on Disney+. There's a lot of possibilities here. And if AEW plays their cards right, and from what it looks like Mercedes is already signed, they could have a grand signing in Mercedes Moné and possibly the best women's division in the world. So I do think Mercedes Moné is on her way to AEW, and that is her likely landing spot. But if that happens, it is going to be a big deal for the company at a time where the company desperately needs momentum. Because right now, AEW is not really where they need to be, with all due respect. They're just not. Continuing on, we're going to be talking about Kazuchika Okada, the latest on Kazuchika Okada. Kazuchika Okada, according to Fightful Select, is officially a free agent in a few hours, which already he is a free agent. On Tuesday, much was made of Pro Wrestling Tees being informed that they needed to remove Kazuchika Okada merchandise from their stores within 24 hours. However, it was reiterated to Fightful this was related to his NJPW contract expiring this week, and it isn't connected to WWE or AEW. However, we have learned a lot more about how talks are already ongoing. Those that Fightful has spoken to said that though he was still technically under contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan has been very understanding of Okada speaking with other organizations. As he made it clear he was finishing up with them, New Japan sources have claimed that things have been amicable between the both sides. WWE sources confirmed that there have been talks between Okada's side and the WWE. There have been WWE talent that confirmed that over the last few weeks, Okada has been in contact with others on the roster to gauge his offers. WWE's approach, and to help weigh a discussion, we have not heard of any creative plans in place for Okada or any specific pitches that may or may not have been thrown his way. AEW has been fairly confident over the last month that they would land Kazuchika Okada, to the point where there was tentative plans in place to debut Okada, which would be well over a month from now. And Fightful has been told that AEW made what they consider a substantial offer to Kazuchika Okada. Every source that Fightful has spoken to claimed that no contract has been signed. Okada has been in contact with Barry Bloom. Yeah, that name seems familiar. It's the same lawyer, same representative that the Elite, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Will Ospreay had representing them. And I believe Cody Rhodes was being represented by as well. But representing him, which wasn't finalized until fairly recently, but was rumored well before. Once you get Barry Bloom, if you're a big enough star and you hire Barry Bloom, you are going to get a big money deal, period. Kazuchika Okada. Again, another name that I do think is on his way to AEW. Again, at a time where AEW's, not their roster, but at a time where AEW, again, is lacking momentum, they could really use momentum right now. Especially with all the bad press that WWE is dealing with right now, they could use a lot of momentum. Is this the momentum that AEW needs? We're going to have to wait and see. But do I think Kazuchika Okada is on his way to the WWE or on his way to AEW? I think he is on his way to AEW. Now, I'm not going to, again, I talked about this last episode of the WrestleHavoc Podcast. Again, it doesn't matter where Kazuchika Okada goes, he will be treated like a big deal. WWE, he will be treated like a big star. AEW, he will be treated like a big star, but we've already seen Kazuchika Okada in AEW. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Kazuchika Okada, in my opinion, is on his way to AEW, and I think that is the best fit for him. Even though WWE is not a bad situation for him. If anything, WWE is a great platform for Kazuchika Okada, because WWE will literally put the machine behind this man. 100%. That is just my opinion, but that is the latest on Kazuchika Okada. We're going to be briefly talking about CM Punk's injury. CM Punk's injury, of course, he had a segment on Raw, and basically the injury, this is the injury update. WWE feared throughout the weekend, and I'm reading this once again from Fightful Select, that CM Punk had sustained a major injury. Wrestling Observer reported that Punk had sustained a triceps injury, which PW Insider reported that they have heard will require surgery. And if true, this would likely sideline him well past WrestleMania, which already did. Fightful had heard that Punk suffered a triceps injury this weekend and has since been confirmed by WWE sources. Fightful has learned that Punk is scheduled for tonight's Raw, which already happened. He cut a really good promo, which led to Drew McIntyre to really run down CM Punk and beat the crap out of CM Punk to write him off of television, where he's likely to address the issue. And he's been internally slated to face Seth Rollins at WWE WrestleMania, who is battling a torn MCL and meniscus. Fightful's Corey Brennan confirmed that towards the end of the WWE Royal Rumble match that a WWE referee checked on CM Punk and asked if he needed a doctor. However, Punk waved it off as he wished to finish the match. And for those asking, Fightful has not heard that Cody Rhodes' Royal Rumble win was an audible due to the injury, which I do not think it was. But yeah, it absolutely sucks that Punk is out. And it sucks, and again, the timing is absolutely horrible. I'm not going to be one of those people that is blaming CM Punk for all the stuff that is going on when it comes to Cody Rhodes and The Rock, because it's not his fault. But what I will say is that CM Punk's injury changed the trajectory of WrestleMania 40 as we know it. CM Punk's injury, actually, Seth Rollins' injury almost changed the trajectory of WrestleMania, but once he stated that he was going to appear at WrestleMania, you know, we thought we were going to be getting the Punk and Seth match. But when it comes to CM Punk, his injury completely changed the trajectory of WrestleMania. That and more of the Vince McMahon situation completely changed the trajectory of WrestleMania, and not in a good way. And it sucks. WrestleMania 40, when it comes to the match card, is up in the air right now. We do not know what's going to happen. We're going to get more information as the press conference happens on Thursday, but again, man, it is, it sucks. I wish CM Punk a speedy recovery because, again, a torn tricep injury, it's the same injury that he suffered when he wrestled Jon Moxley at All Out 2 years ago. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens, but it sucks. CM Punk's first official televised, not official match, but televised match in the WWE ends with a torn tricep injury. Best wishes to the best in the world, CM Punk. And that was the WrestleHavoc Podcast from Sunday, February 4th, 2024. You guys are actually going to be watching this February 5th. But unfortunately, I've already have this done, so you guys are probably going to be watching this on a Monday. But nonetheless, we definitely talked a lot. We spent the whole hour ranting and raving, talking about The Rock and Roman Reigns and all the shenanigans going on and all the selfishness going on with that match. There's more information. I will be giving you guys more information right here on the WrestleHavoc channel and possibly maybe extras of the WrestleHavoc podcast. But if you guys haven't checked out the previous episode of the WrestleHavoc podcast, the link will be in the description below. But nonetheless, that concludes the WrestleHavoc podcast with, of course, the host, yours truly, Flamin' Ricky DeRays. And please like, subscribe, comment down below, push that bell for notifications. Look out for more videos right here on the WrestleHavoc channel in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. And as the freaking referee would say, ring, ring, ring that damn bell for more notifications. And as always, it is yours truly, Flamin' Ricky DeRays, signing out. I'll see you guys all later. Peace.